everyone, and welcome to the Boopcast episode 53. We are your hosts, SheNoob and...
Cory.
I don't know what episode it is.
And
This week...
Jerry.
We've also got Jerry.
Jeremiah.
Oh, we're so disorganized today. What else is new? So Jerry's joining us this week to talk about Chapter 9, which was a very good chapter. Very nice way to come back from the break week. Especially after Chapter 8. But that's last week. That's in the past. We're talking about Chapter 9 today. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Bartek and Agile. And the lurkers as well. So, Chapter 9. But before we get into that, Jerry, would you like to tell everyone, for people who may not know you, a little bit about yourself and how you got into RWBY?
This is like the third time I'm doing this, and I always hate doing this because I hate talking about myself.
Well, we're going to make you do
it. So I'm Jeremiah George. I'm primarily a video game composer. On YouTube, I do video game orchestral battle arrangements of your favorite video game music or TV show music or anime sometimes. But I used to do dabble a lot in RWBY. So you may have known of me for my RWBY arrangements. I haven't done so many recently, but the last one I did was, what's Adam's theme again?
Lion Eyes?
I did Adam's theme. Lion Eyes, there we go, that's
Lion
the one.
Eyes.
Lion Eyes. I'm looking to do a few more from RWBY soon. Not particularly from this volume, but there's a bunch from last volume that I want to tackle. But yeah, that's who I am.
I mean, this volume, there's been too much light, fluffy stuff.
Yeah.
There's not been a lot for me to work with.
Not really, no. There's not been a lot of, well, they've all been bangers, but they haven't been like, Jeff William typical bangers that we're used to hearing.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, his covers are incredible, and you should definitely go check them out with the link that I just put in the chat. Hopefully.
Oh, someone's prepared.
If it posts, please work. Please work. Oops, I've used the wrong command. Never mind.
I was going to say, I think that's the wrong one.
Listen! It's 9 o'clock in the morning. That's
there we go.
Excuse.
That's the one.
Okay.
Yeah. Any fellow Kingdom Hearts fans, I love his Aqua battle arrangements.
Yes. I love it too.
I quite enjoyed that one.
No, I've heard all of your arrangements and they're incredible. So definitely go check out his music, and his originals as well are incredible. And you're making a video game at the moment as well.
Oh, we're talking about that too? Yeah, I'm working on a video game called Palace Quest. It's basically an isekai that was started before isekais were popular. They made an RPG Maker. It's just basically about 5 people from Earth being transported to the world of an RPG video game. And the basic premise at its very core is that the 5 warriors, I guess, that came to the world have to defeat the evil lord, and then they can go home. But of course, it's a lot more complicated than that, and things aren't always as they seem. Not everyone gets transported to that world at the same time. Some has been there for months, all very different. So it's looking to be a rather sort of lighthearted, funny, but also sort of somewhat serious adventure with music composed by yours truly. And yeah, I've been working on it for a while, so I'm hoping to get a demo out sometime this year or next year. And yeah, it's called Palacial Quest.
Forward to the demo because I want to stream it. I want to play it. It looks really good. I'm excited to see the development of the game. So definitely go check that out at Jerry's Twitter there, McTricky. Okay, so Chapter 9. Lots happened in this chapter. Too much for me to wrap my head around, really. I've only seen it twice because this week's been a bit crazy. I haven't had a chance to watch it. But I'm going to let Cory take it away because he's got notes.
Sort of. I was procrastinating doing notes, and then I was like, shit. But yeah. I mean, I do want to start off by saying, last week, both you and I weren't very kind to episode 8. I mean, we weren't mean to it, but we were both like, it felt like it was missing something. Mm-hmm. But now seeing this episode, I'm like, yeah, they couldn't possibly have continued beyond where they left the last one out, where they left the last one off, because everything in this episode needed to happen in this episode.
Yeah, they
Like-
sort of wrote themselves into a corner with it, I think, really. But,
Mhm.
yeah. This episode was definitely better than Chapter 8. But, probably by about a mile, but, so this, as we suspected, this definitely felt like Chapter 8 Part 2, in that everything that was set up in 8 sort of happened here. So really it's like all one big long episode that's been cut up into 2 chunks.
Into 2, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's the best way to describe it.
So where are we starting? I don't even remember how the episode started.
It
heat's
starts with
gone
them
off.
back in the dining hall.
Oh, it starts there.
And I'm pretty sure
There's
that's
the
the first
scene at the
scene,
start
isn't
with
it?
Maria and Pietro.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
It does start there.
And Maria
It's like-
doesn't say a single word. And I was
Yep.
like, Maria, speak. Like, every time she's on screen, I expect something witty. So to see her on screen twice this episode and have her not say anything was a little weird.
Very sidelined this season.
She has been. It's very sad, especially considering how central she was last volume.
Right?
And, like, literally every time she's on screen, she steals the entire show from everybody else. So I love having her on screen. She's been such a nice sort of offset from the rest of the cast. So to not have her this volume's kind of disappointing. The fact that she's been real sidelined. So I hope they're going to improve that in the last few chapters. Because, they have a bad habit of doing this.
I mean, they have also just too big a cast of characters that, like, I mean, Maria was super important to 6, but now it's like, now we need to, like, give the Aesop some time this volume, and, I don't know.
Her so much.
It's not like she can contribute a ton besides witty comments.
No,
That's
really.
why we love her. Because every time she's on the screen, I'm just like, yes, I need more of this. But yeah, so there's that scene at the start, briefly.
One thing I liked at that scene is that it shows, like, how everything that Watts has been doing has just destroyed in Mantle's faith in Atlas, because they're like, Atlas wouldn't just turn off the heat, would they? Like, they're not sure if that's something Atlas would actually do.
They're asking the question, they're not sure of the answer while they're asking it. Yeah, it's like, they wouldn't do that, would? Actually, they might. So, yeah, it's really interesting to see sort of the discrepancy between Atlas and Mantle, especially later in the episode as well. And they just jumped to the conclusion that Atlas did it on purpose, which, I mean,
Fair.
Not really. Jacques wasn't aware of what he was doing, but he gave some psycho scientist the ability to do so. So, it's 125% his fault. But let's not point fingers because it's pointless. Jacques.
Well, that's actually one thing I found. So there was, like, one of the little things I found annoying is that they show the video clip in the next scene of, the full conversation that Watts and Jacques had. And, like, literally Watts says that all he needs in return is his access credentials. And then in the, like, next scene where they're interrogating Jacques, he's like, Ironwood's like, you should have foreseen this. You gave him this thing. And he was like, I didn't know. And it was like, no, you did know. That was literally his one stipulation, was that he wanted your access codes. Like, what?
He claims to be, he thinks he's so smart. He thinks he's better than everyone. He thinks he's top shit. He's an idiot. Because he just gave this mad scientist access to the entire Atlas network and the ability to control things like the heating grid that the SheNoob Dust Company has access to and controls. And it's like, you gave him the key with which to fuck over Atlas and Mantle. Like, why would you do that, you idiot? He was so focused and self-centered on the fact that he wanted to win the election and he was going to do whatever it took to get there. He did not even think about the consequences of doing something so utterly stupid. But, that's Jacques SheNoob for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hubris is his own downfall, I guess.
Yeah. He did, and it was very, very, very satisfying. I have to
Mm-hmm.
say, I was not expecting
It was.
at all this episode. I
Yeah.
was not expecting anything that happened in this episode, except for maybe the Grim attack, because obvious. But
Yeah. Well, you'd also seen the preview, so you knew about the Grim
I
attack.
had seen the preview, and do you know what the preview was? The preview was the freaking Goliaths charging at Mantle. That was the preview, and I was like,
Oh no.
"Oh fuck, that's bad." Like that sort of little bit there was the entire preview, and I was like, "Well, I know too much. I can't say anything about next chapter now, because I know I don't know too much." Turns out I didn't know that much at all, because like I knew the obvious part, but this is like, you know, Armageddon level bad as far as the Grim is concerned. Like, that's a lot of Goliaths.
Well, that's also the thing from back during Volume 2 is, like, Oobleck said, is that, you know, Goliaths wait until you're vulnerable, and then they attack. Like, they're very, very, very smart Grim. And so, like, because these Goliaths are attacking, you know, shit is bad.
Yeah. And then the,
like, it bad.
the little, the Wiveny thingies, I forget what they're called.
Well, these are new ones. People were calling them like pterodactyls, kind of a thing.
I think they're called Pterax. Miles tweeted about it earlier in the week, but yeah, they're.
Oh, that's right. Because if you say it quickly, it kind of sounds like terrorist.
Yeah, Pterix, that's what it was. So, yeah, just seeing the Grim, and like, I was sitting there watching the chapter originally, and I was getting so mad at the soldiers shooting at the Goliaths. I'm like, you're just pissing them off! Stop!
That's not going to do anything
like,
at all.
As soon as they fired the missiles at the Goliaths were like, oh, fuck you, we're gonna charge now. It's like, what are you doing? You're just making it angry. But I'm like, how is Team Ruby and the Aesops gonna take on that many Goliaths? They're not exactly, you know, pushovers.
Yeah.
That's my concern, but
I don't know. It's gonna be bad.
It's gonna be bad all around, really. But yeah, I'm getting off track, of course.
We're already jumped halfway into the episode already.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Listen, let's
as we do.
Forget structure. So yeah, Jacques' downfall, very, very satisfying and very unexpected in this chapter. I'm wondering if that's the last that we're going to hear of him, though.
Nah.
I don't think so.
I don't think it will be.
I think he's like Cinder. He's a bug. He'll keep coming back.
I think that I feel like he's going to be a little bit more like Torchwicky in this sort of a sense where like he'll come back like, you know, we'll see him like in prison, but like I don't think that he's going to continue to be like a villain. Like at this point he basically kind of has he's out of use for Watts. The only thing I could think of is like the only thing we still need to resolve is the Schnee Dust Company. So like what happens now that he's in prison?
Yeah, I don't think that Whitley gets the company now somehow because he's 15, but
so does Willow get it?
I hope not. My gosh. Yeah, so I've never really seen Jacques Schnee as a villain. I've seen him more as like an obstacle in Weiss's way, but because he's never really
a petulant child.
Yeah, he's never really achieved villain status for me because he was only central to Weiss. He wasn't central to anything else, and it was sort of a stepping stone for her in her story.
Yeah.
He's a dick, don't get me wrong. He is an abusive twat. But villain, nah. The other villains in the show are way smarter than him, so... Obviously. Yeah. They conned him into letting them shut down the heating. What?
That's the other thing. I'm like... How did he not realize that, like, that massacre that conveniently took place at, you know, that Ironwood conveniently did at the same time as Watts was hacking the election, and he didn't, like, put anything together about that? He was just like, oh yeah, Ironwood's just killing people, whatever.
Because he doesn't care, A, and B, it didn't affect him, whereas this is affecting him. Because it's damaging his reputation and the Schnee Dust Company's reputation. Massacre? Meh, not his problem. And that's sort of how I think Jacques' mindset is. It's like he literally just doesn't care about that. But, you know, I think he'll care now that he's, like, indirectly responsible for all of it. Because, guess who's going to court over it, bitch? But, you know, it's just...
I think he'll pretend to care. I don't think he'll actually care.
I think
I don't think he'll become penitent or anything.
Pretending to do a lot of things, but not very good at doing much. You know, I'm not, like, we don't know what he's like as, you know, the leader of the SheNoob Dust Company. We haven't seen anything really to do with that. All we sort of know is what he's like as a person, and that's a piece of garbage. So, yeah.
That's why I was really surprised that when it seems like they're taking him out this episode, where I'm like, wait, he kind of still has potential, sort of, like...
I know, I mean, but it was so satisfying
like,
that I almost don't care. I'm just like, ever since Volume 4, I've wanted him to die, but this is almost better. This is almost like taking everything away from him that he's worked to build. Well, not necessarily worked. Everything that he's stolen from other people. Is nice, and I want it to stay that way. But whether it does is going to be a question for the future. That's
why I love the symbolism of her using the Armagigas to arrest him, though, because it's, you know, it was Nicholas Shani's armor.
It was kind of like... It was also the royal test. So, way back in the White trailer, you know, so I was associated sort of that royal test with Jacques, it being Jacques' test for Weiss to be like, well, if you want to go off to Beacon, you have to do this first, is kind of the way I looked at the White trailer. So, yeah, for her to use that armor to arrest him was like, yeah, full circle, bitch.
Well, the Weiss comic or manga confirmed that was what it was. That a guy controlled the Armagigas, and
I don't have time to read manga.
Yeah, a guy controlled the Armagigas, and then he was like, "If you can beat this, I will let you go to Beacon." And you know, she did it.
Yes. I must have heard that somewhere subconsciously. I must have read that somewhere because that was how I had it in my head. But yeah, I don't. I read the Ruby manga, but I haven't read the rest. I don't own the rest. But what was it? I don't know. Jacques. I did actually feel a little bit sorry for Whitley in this episode. Just because he sort of now lost both of his parents and his sister. So I can kind of see his perspective at this point. I've previously been a Whitley canceller, but at this point I'm like, I kind of feel a bit sorry for the kid, because now, like, I'm not really sure what's going to happen to him at this stage.
Yeah.
This is going to be him and Willow in that big old house. So, yeah, I do kind of feel a bit bad for him. But I hope that without Jacques' influence, he starts to redeem a bit.
Yeah. Or he just goes to fill the vacuum that Jacques created.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's always that, too. That's why I'm like, maybe getting rid of Jacques isn't terrible, because maybe, like, Whitley fills in that potential for whatever's going to continue to happen with the SheNoob Dust Company.
Well, this could be a Volume 5 situation where they just, you know, get rid of that storyline altogether out of nowhere. White Fang.
I mean, I feel like the White Fang will come back a bit, but yeah, it is kind of over.
It's been 2 volumes.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure about that, but you know, we have talked about Volume 5 to death. Let's not bring it up again because it'll start a 3-hour tangent. But yeah, Weiss using her scroll with a huntress license to be like, Jacques SheNoob, you are under arrest. Can I do that? Like, yes, Weiss, you can do that.
That was brilliant. That was a brilliant moment.
It was so funny. I was like, yes, honey, yes, you can.
You're doing amazing, sweetie.
You're doing amazing, exactly. Again, really satisfying, because, like, what better revenge could Weiss have gotten against him other than to arrest him in front of all of his peers. Be like, that was just, I just loved it. Beautiful.
I hated that Winter wasn't on screen because I could just imagine like Winter back in the background just fist pumping as that happened.
She would never.
She would never, but I like to imagine that's what happened.
Just sitting there with a smug grin on her face, probably. But I did love Winter's interaction with him, like slamming her hands down in his chair and be like, "You're going to shut your mouth. Like, stop talking, bitch. You're making it worse." I don't think we can make it any worse at this point, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got a real good insight into Jacques' sort of mentality in this episode. Especially seeing how he reacted to being caught out. He literally ran away. So it's like, interesting.
Also, we have failed to mention, like, the big thing in the fandom this week is the clip-on tie fiasco.
Oh,
which I don't fully understand. I don't know where it came from at all.
Arnold Delgado, you have created a monster. He needs to be stopped. I saw this on Arnold's Twitter, him joking about like the clip-on tie thing, because I've always wondered that because his tie like looks kind of weird.
Well, it's because like when you see on Ironwood that like it actually kind of goes up around his neck, but like on his it's just there.
It's just sitting there,
And
so yeah, that entire fiasco on Twitter has been extremely entertaining to watch over the last week or so. But yeah, Arnold's losing his mind over it. It's hilarious. But yeah, apparently it's canon now, so that's a thing. The official Ruby Twitter tweeted about a meme about it, so you know it's done. They're done.
Yeah,
it's canon at this point.
Official.
It's official.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Eddie Rivas said, "Screw it, let's make it canon." It's like, sure, why not?
I love when the Kruby does things that they don't think is ever going to be a thing, and then the fandom takes that and runs off a cliff with it, and they're like, okay, cool, let's make it canon. Fuck it, off you go.
Yeah, it probably just honestly came down to in Volume 4, they were just like, yeah, well, he needs to wear a tie, so they put a tie on him and didn't think about, like, making it, go up around his neck like a tie does.
3 years' time, what the repercussions of their actions would be. 3 years later, this is gonna be a thing. Bloody fandom. Thank you, Arnold, for that. Exploiting the fandom. At least the fandom has had something to talk about that has not been arguing over the last week, which has been nice.
Brilliant.
So, thanks, Arnold, genuinely. But yeah. Yep, clip-on tie fiasco. That was interesting. I'm struggling to remember sort of the progression of the episode. Oh, they were talking before Weiss barged in about trust and like the as like you mentioned last week, Cory, about him having the 2 council seats and how that sort of works in relation to the council and how they sort of govern things. And like they mentioned about checks and balances, and I was like, what does that mean?
Exactly. I was like, wait, what are your checks and balances? Because like, if having checks and balances in place is supposed to like keep him, is supposed to make it so like him having 2 seats doesn't matter as much. But it's like there are only 5 council seats. You would need a unanimous everybody else to overrule him.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, so I'm like, that doesn't seem like very good checks and balances if you need, everybody else to agree. Like, that just...
Yeah, that sort of...
So I'm like, what are you doing?
When there's only 5 of you. If there was like 12 of you, it would make a difference. But, when there's 5 people and it's him with 2 votes versus 3 others, it's like, yeah, like you say, you have to have a unanimous against him vote for it to even be, for it to even work. But yeah, as they said, he's been sort of running a bit unchecked lately and making decisions on his own without them. And I do like that at the end of this, well, not at the end, to like in the rest of the episode, he does come clean with everything. Because I think that once he does that, it makes a lot more sense to everybody else why he's been so secretive. Especially when Weiss reveals about Watts, he's immediately like, now that I know Watts is alive, and then he mentions Tyrion, and like he's talked about all of this with Robin and the other council people, and it's like, it's good to see him just sort of being able to let that out in the open, and feel like he doesn't have to keep his secrets anymore because he's got more information to go off of, basically. So yeah, but for some reason, when Weiss had that recording last chapter, I didn't put it together in my brain that she was going to barge in here and reveal that to everybody. I don't know why I didn't predict that, because it's such an obvious progression, but I
thought
didn't
I said that
about
last
it.
week.
I didn't even think about it, really. I probably wasn't listening when you said it last week.
Because I was like, she just needs to get into that room and be like, Ironwood, look, because Ironwood would know. And we found out this episode that everybody knows who Watts is, apparently.
Yeah, he seems to have been somebody of some notoriety, especially because they said he died in the Paladin incident years ago. I wonder what that was. Paladins, aren't they the big mechy things?
Yeah,
the one that Roman was in.
Yeah,
in
the
volume 2.
one that the White Fangs stole. Yeah, so that's interesting. I'd like to know a little more about what's his background. But yeah, we had figured that he was somebody who was presumed dead and wasn't. So it's good to get confirmation on that. But yeah, everybody seems to know who he is, and we know that Pietro will know who he is because they were on the team together. So yeah, it's very interesting, all of the connections between everybody, and that it's all sort of coming together now, where the villains and their plot is being put out into the open, and almost like the heroes are one step ahead now, which they're not normally. So they're normally 10 steps behind. So yeah, but that obviously they still have no idea what's going on in the background with Salem or anything right now, but at least they're ahead of the villains for the time being. They are aware of what they're planning to an extent.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it felt like they were a step ahead last episode because, like, Weiss was actively suspicious of her father and stuff, and so, like, it kind of in that aspect felt like she was ahead. But, like, at that point, though, Watts was basically done with Jacques.
Yeah.
So her having, like, this connection with, like, figuring Jacques out really didn't end up meaning anything because Watts was already locking them out of the system.
Yeah.
Like, Mantle was already freezing by the time they found out anything. Like, you know, I still feel like the villains are a little bit ahead of them here.
I think so, but now I think the heroes are going to have the opportunity to be a bit smarter about how they go about things, because they know what the villains are up to now. They can see what they're trying to do, so now they can work out a way of how to get ahead of them. So I think they're not quite at a point where they're gonna figure out where they are or anything like that. But I mean, I would already said in this episode he's going to be mobile, so he's figured that out straight away, because obviously. But like, the fact that they now are aware of what they're trying to do is going to help them in how they counter them. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting going forward to see what happens. But the most imminent thing is the immediate Grim threat. So everything else, I think, is probably gonna have to wait until after that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
I mean, it is kind of a twofer though. Like, they kind of have to, like, fight the Grim, but also get Watts, because again, he wants him to make sure that he doesn't find out about the Amity Project, because he's like, the Amity Project is safe for now, but he's locking us out more and more, and blah blah blah. So they need to find him to get to his access point.
Yeah,
it's likely they're going to find out about Amity.
Yeah, it is very likely.
Eventually.
Yeah, it's a bit worrying, but I wasn't optimistic about the Amity Project to begin with. But yeah, I don't know. And the introduction of Cinder and Neo so early in the volume has really stirred the pot. Was not
so
expecting
early?
that. Well, I mean,
because
Jessica,
we were both predicting that it would be like the post-credit stinger is them, and it's like, oh shit, they're here now.
Yeah.
Like,
Jessica Negri sort of tweeted a couple weeks ago that she was recording for something. She didn't say what for, but Cinder, obviously.
Well, she's the only thing she's recording for.
Exactly. and like she was like so coy about it. I was like, bitch, we all know you're recording for Cinder. Stop. But like the fact that she only was recording a couple weeks ago made me think, okay, she's not in it till the last episode. So to see them here was very surprising, and she hoodwinked us. So thanks for that, Jess. Because I think she's probably been recording for a little bit longer, and she only just posted that because she didn't want us to think that she was in the volume so early. But having said that, it was like one line. So, but you know, they were in the episode, which I was completely blindsided by. But as soon as I saw that little waiter, I was like, oh, that's Neo. Hi, Neo.
Yeah,
they showed her green
outfit,
eyes.
the same disguise, yeah.
Yeah, green eyes and everything, yeah. I was like, oh.
People have been waiting for Neo to show up in disguise all volume, and it was the second they showed her, I was like, Neo!
Yeah, I know, yeah, it was so obvious. Like, the way that she watched everybody run out of the room, I was like, oh, it's Neo! Hi!
Hi.
It's also, people have gone back in chapter 8, and she appears like 3 times in chapter 8 as well. Like, she was in and out of that dining room a few times.
Son of a bitch, I didn't even notice.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to go back and see now.
Yeah, I hate it when they do shit like that because I feel so bloody. I feel ripped off. I'm like, I feel cheated. She was in there the whole time and I didn't see her.
They were doing it. They were making it hard to see though because it was all the like pulled back camera shots, the wide angle shots. So she was just like one of the characters. Like she was walking by as like she was the waiter that Winter passed as Winter left the room. Like that was Neo.
That wasn't the same. That wasn't the same person, was it?
It was.
No.
Yeah. I mean, at least rude. The same hair.
That is very rude. But yeah, it's like we've all been waiting for Neo to show up in disguise, like you said, and then like as soon as she appeared, we're like, Neo, there you are, found you. Like it's almost like looking for where's Wally. Like she's gonna show up somewhere. It's got my Neo radar on. Like there she is. But yeah, I didn't expect to necessarily see Cinder in this episode though. I also love when Neo left the SheNoob Manor and she's skipping down the road. I was like, I love you. Never change.
I also love the little music box that played as it as they were really in that moment like fully letting down the facade. If you hadn't already put together that was Neo, they were really like, here is this villain theme as she skips away and like you know
here is
this.
Some creepy music. That's the villain. One of them anyway. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really see Neo as a villain either. She's such a middle ground person. Like she worked for Roman, but that's because she loved Roman in her own way. She's working with Cinder, but that's because she has a grudge, and she wants to help Cinder kill Ruby because everything's Ruby's fault. You know, poor Ruby. But I feel like she has such potential to go either way as a character. And I feel like she's not necessarily going to go one way or the other. She's going to do something else, probably. I don't know. She's going to be very
She's just a wild card.
Yeah, she's a complete wild card. So it's going to be very interesting to see how she develops. She's such an interesting character to me. I want to know so much more about her. Also, the fact that Neo and Cinder are wearing those outfits in Atlas, come on, it's freezing. Can you not?
It's cold.
It's cold. What are you doing?
I mean, they're indoors.
They're indoors, but they had to get outdoors to get indoors. It's freezing. It annoys me so much. But like, I love that outfit they designed for Cinder, but it was very short-sighted. So like, they designed this whole outfit and then were like, oh fuck, they're going to the snow place next volume. Well, I guess they're indoors. It's like, come on.
I mean, but like, Cinder's the Fall Maiden. She'll just like, hold fire in her hand and be like, oh yes, I'm warm. You want some Neo? You can't.
Yeah, so Neo's back and Cinder's back. Very good. That's going to be interesting. Especially because they've just sort of put all of this out in the open with Watts and Tyrion. Now to have the girls there is going to be... I mean, that's an element that the heroes are not aware of. So... Whoa, what did I just do to my desktop? It's fine. I didn't break it. I just hovered over the desktop button. It's going to be very interesting because Cinder has this bad habit of just popping up out of nowhere and being like, hello, boys and girls. And it's like, that's just the way she enters the situation. So, like, she's just going to pop up and they're going to be like, hang on a minute. When did Cinder get here?
They were going to be like, you're supposed to be dead.
Mm-hmm. Again.
I mean, truly.
Again.
Although I guess all they saw is she descended into the vault and then Yang went down there and Cinder was gone.
Yeah, Cinder was gone. So they don't necessarily know that she was dead, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The only one who...
And I guess also technically the story that Yang was telling everybody is that they were both gone. So, yeah, I guess they're just like, they killed each other?
Yeah, Cinder
Maidens
was
go
gone,
poop.
Renee was dead, and Raven was gone, yeah. So, but she lied about Raven, but you know. Well, not really. She told the truth, she just didn't tell all of it.
Yeah.
All of it, no.
Yeah, no.
Half truth.
I think that's a truth she's going to keep to herself until the time that it becomes relevant, if it does. It may never become relevant, so...
I could fully see, like, if Team Ruby against Cinder, and Cinder, like, pulling the, like, oh, your mom's the Spring Maiden thing, you know, or daughter of the Spring Maiden, and they're all like, what?
Huh? And Yang being like, yeah, about that.
I've been new.
Yeah, I've been new, exactly. Yeah, so it would be very interesting if that does come out in the open, because Yang has done so much talking about not keeping secrets and not telling lies, and that's what she's been doing since Volume 5.
Yeah. I feel like, though, that's a very understandable secret to keep.
But
like,
Raven's the Spring Maiden. But at that point, the vault was already open, so she's kind of useless.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be
real. And, like, and also, that's the thing, though, is she thinks she's the only person alive that knows that she's the Spring Maiden. Like, because, you know, obviously she thinks Cinder's dead and Vernal was dead. So she's like, nobody can know about this. Just me. Like, but then if she discovers Cinder's alive, maybe she's like, okay, my mom's the Spring Maiden. We have to protect her.
Yeah, protect Raven. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kill Raven and take her power. I don't like Raven. Anyway, we're getting off topic again. Look at that. So, yeah, the whole scene here with, like, Robin being like, oh, you know, you're all aware of my semblance. Let's find out if I was telling the truth. The amount of time he hesitated was making me very uncomfortable. I was like, you're gonna have to say something, dude. Say something. And then Wes burst in. I was like, thank God. Perfect timing, kiddo. What do you got?
I saw people saying that they're like, well, Willow said she had cameras in every room in the house. So I just imagine Weiss standing outside watching the cameras being like, now's my time to burst through the door.
And now. Okay. I need to go save Ironwood's butt now. But yeah, just the whole moment was very tense. It was so quiet. Nobody was saying anything. And he's just staring at her hand and she's staring at him. And I'm like, somebody say something. I was like, you have to do something. Yeah. And then Weiss bursting in, I was like, oh, thank Christ. All right. But the way that, like, Jacques is sitting there sweating and, like, fidgeting the whole way through that scene, playing the fact that they focused on him for a good 15 seconds while that sort of recording was playing was delicious. Like, just watching his composure break and him just, like, deteriorate into this I'm fucked mentality.
Yeah.
Like,
and trying to, like, disappear into his chair. Like, you could tell he was trying to, like, make himself smaller and stuff, and it was just not working.
The realization that he was screwed happening on his face in real time was very, very lovely. And then, like, the way that he gets up and he's like, I can explain that. That's not real. And I was like, dude, really? Really?
That's the best he's got.
I know. That line was so good. That's not real. It's like, I'm like, they're willing to believe Penny's thing isn't real, but that is very obviously real.
Especially also because they're all very aware of what Watts is capable of. So they're like, seeing this video makes Ironwood's story make complete sense and your story not. So,
Yep.
hi.
I also loved when that recording was playing the shot of Winter. She so very subtly shook her head. And I was like, that's really nice, subtle sort of body language there, that she's just, is almost like an involuntary action of her shaking her head, being like, unbelievable. Like, she almost couldn't believe, like, really, I can't believe you stooped that low. But, I mean, she knows him, so. What was I gonna, no, I've forgotten completely. Lost that tangent altogether. No, I forgot totally. What else was there in the scene? I forget. Jacques turning around and being, and like the way he said Weiss's name, like Weiss, like almost like, how could you do this to me, your loving father? And I'm like, get fucked. Like, you know exactly why she's doing this to you, because you made that girl's miserable. That girl's life miserable since the day she was born. Fuck you. Like, I get so angry whenever he does shit like that. Whenever he even talks to Weiss, I'm like, shut up. Stop talking. Do not address my ice queen. Thank you very much. But yeah, I love, it's so satisfying to see Weiss arrest her dad and be like, and now I'm going to get you back for all of the shit that you've done to me. But yeah, especially for her to do it in such a way of like, as a huntress, being the thing that he did not want her to be, and then using that power to arrest him was really satisfying. Everything come full circle.
And again, I just love the symbolism of like, Nicholas Schnee's armor is keeping him from leaving, and it's kind of, like Nicholas is helping take back his company and take back his family. I loved that.
Yeah. So good. So good. What was after that? I forget.
The next was the preview scene of the like rioting and and like the people breaking into the Dust place and being like, Atlas did this to us and blah blah blah, and then like they threw the fire dust in the fire,
and
which was a really bad idea.
Underwhelming explosion, to be honest.
It's like, yes, let me just chuck this propane tank in there. Nothing bad could happen.
I mean, the explosion was real underwhelming.
It was kind of underwhelming.
I was like, probably should have been a little bigger, but yeah, and then the Grim attacking, obviously, alarms going off and soldiers shooting at Grim. That it's like if you got a fly and threw it at a giant. That's probably what it feels like to that Goliath. But it just annoys me when the soldiers do stupid shit. Because I'm like,
I hate
use your brain.
That was the thing I hated in episode 3 when they were like, the military huntsmen are already clearing out the surrounding area for the Amity launch site, and they're all just like people with guns, and I'm like, this is Ruby, like, give them sword guns at least, like, you can military have some like really basic combo weapon designs.
Literally just soldiers. They're not military huntsmen.
Like even Tweedledee and Tweedledum had cooler weapons than they did.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff annoys me too. But like, I'm like, just use your brain. Don't shoot the Goliath. You're just making it mad. But yeah, I'm sort of wondering, how are they exactly going to kill one Goliath, let alone maybe 50 that are there? I'm like, that's just... I think Mantle's screwed at this point. I think Robin's right. I think they just need to evacuate the city. Because at this stage, it's like, it's a bit pointless to try and save it.
Because Clover said that like their airships aren't able to bomb the Goliaths, which we saw like that one airship, like it took out like one of the Goliaths, but it delivered like 6 missiles to do it, and and now they're in the city, so they can't do that without risking casualties. So it does kind of become one of those things where it's like they need to evacuate Mantle and then just boom, like
blow it up.
that kind of is the solution here.
Yeah, the solution is evacuate the people. Kaboom! That's the solution. Like at this point, there's too many Grim not to to do that, really. Just drop a bomb on Mantle, goodbye. Like, that's, I mean, what else can you do?
Yeah. And then that makes it even scarier for them, like, that'll probably be through to the end of this volume, and then, like, next volume, if all of Mantle's citizens are now up in Atlas with all of the Atlas citizens as well, then it becomes a thing where it's like, shit, everybody's gonna die when this thing falls out of the sky.
Yeah, it's gonna fall out of the sky. There's no question about it. And I think this is what the villains are kind of working towards is getting the Mantle people out of Mantle and into Atlas by overrunning it with Grimm. So it's going to be interesting to see if that's the way that the heroes handle the situation, if they do evacuate the city to Atlas, and then just, either destroy Mantle or just eradicate the Grimm, and then the city ends up a ghost town for the better part of Volume 8. But yeah, having the Mantle citizens and the Atlas citizens together in Atlas is going to pose problems outside of Atlas falling. It's also going to be that these people fucking hate each other.
Yeah.
So, and they're going to be sharing streets. That's not good.
Well, also, the other thing is that they would have to move the fleet and to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And, he's got the fleet in a defensive position right now. And granted, we already know that Cinder and Neo are in town, so, like, it's not like that they could use that as an excuse for how they, like, snuck into Atlas. But now I'm like, shit, if they move those things, is this gonna, like, lead to the flying monkeys showing up? Because, like, suddenly they won't be in as defensible a position.
Yeah, maybe Salem's biding her time, waiting for them to move the fleet, or to have a reason to, and then she's gonna swoop in with the flying monkeys.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, as soon as they mentioned, like, the fleet and having to potentially take it out of its thing, I was like, no, but Salem, like, maybe don't.
Yeah, maybe don't do that. Maybe not a good idea. I mean, they're not aware of all the things we're aware of. That's the trouble.
Exactly.
That's why it's so frustrating to see them play right into the villain's hands, because you're like, no, stop that! Why are you doing this? But they don't know, so they can't, see everything that we can see. It's really frustrating to be a viewer who knows more than the character does. Because
that's what makes it engaging.
Yeah, it does, but it's so frustrating watching them fall right into the hands of the villains and being like, you shouldn't have done that. That was a bad idea. Like, as soon as they make the decision, being like, shouldn't have done that. Because we can see what's gonna happen, but so it'll be really interesting to see how chapters 10 and 11 play out. Because chapter 10 is 15 minutes 40 seconds, so it's another shorter one.
Oh, you got the time for that?
Yeah, we got the time, and the title was
Out in the Dark?
Out in the Open.
Something like that?
Out in the Open.
Out in the open, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
So it looks, and the thumbnail, like, is everybody down in Mantle with the weapons out. So, well, not everybody, Nora and Weiss.
And Marrow.
And Marrow, yeah. He's there too. So it's obviously going to be very Grim Attack focused, this next chapter. I think they're going to have a lot of focus on what's going on down in Mantle, and maybe a little bit elsewhere. But mostly I'm expecting some action next chapter, especially because of the shorter runtime. So hopefully that's what we're looking at. But the situation looks very dire, so I hope nobody dies.
Well, I mean, I don't think any of our main people will die.
I just want to see more
the
Clover
Aesop
and Crow together in action. Yes, work the bad luck charms. I'm living for it. Every time they look at each other, I'm like, ugh! Fuck already! It's driving me crazy. But yeah, there's no time for that right now, but later. I mean, I say that, but then I'm like, but Clover's weapon is utterly useless, so...
Yeah.
It really is.
It's awful. It's so bad. I'm like...
He's just gonna start Spider-Maning through the city.
Yeah, the lucky fisherman thing, yeah, I get it, but, like, you could have done something cooler with the weapon, surely, because it's useless. You can't fight Grim with that. Yeah, he did one cool thing with the Geist, and that was it. It's like the rest of the time we saw him fighting Grim, he was like waving his fishing pole around, and it was doing nothing.
Yeah, it's like
So I was
for a
like,
catch.
He's not very handy in a fight. He can just stand there, look pretty, and give everyone else around him good luck, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Stand there and cancel out Crow while Crow does all of the cool stuff. When he shows base off, it's also a gun. It should really be a gun. I mean,
I've been waiting for it to be like a net gun as well, but
yeah, it's a projectile. I'm hoping
That would
there's
save
more
it,
to the
honestly.
weapon than we've already seen. I'm hoping like he opens up the other end and there's just a fucking bazooka in there or some shit. I don't know. Something more interesting than what it is, please. Because at the moment it's not very useful. It's more of a tool than a weapon, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, but not the best for fighting Grim, especially considering the fact that he's a huntsman who fights
And
Grim.
the leader of the Ace Ops.
Yeah. So it's a bow and arrow, but I wouldn't call that a gun. Listen! You're right. But it's still a projectile. Everything's a projectile, it's Ruby. Yeah. Back to the council room, was it after that?
yeah.
Yeah, they were just yelling at Jacques,
oh,
really.
Wait, there was something. Oh, we forgot to mention during the rioting scene
Oh, yeah.
that like Mantle or that Atlas robots were like, please disperse.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, really? Now is not the time, robots.
Mm.
Granted, it was right before the Grim alarms went off, but it was just like, this isn't helping. They're literally being like, Atlas sucks, and then Atlas police show up and they're like, leave, and they're like, fuck you. And I'm just
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
why are you like this? Why are you like this?
That's why the human soldiers are standing over there asking for orders, because they're like, we're not getting fucking involved in this, we're gonna die. Like, at least they're smart enough to stand over there and not get involved. In before he has some overload type of thing, and it gets some huge boost that transforms it to something equal to fully infinite gauntlet. Infinity gauntlet. I read that all wrong. The fishing pole? I doubt it.
The fishing ball.
We gotta have 5 seconds of Maria for the episode.
I think the best you could do, instead of having one like string on the pole, it becomes two. It's the best.
Just turn it into Vanille's weapon from Final Fantasy 13. It's just got 3 hooks on it. Just chuck
Oh.
it
Yeah.
I mean, but Neil's weapon is way more useful than that.
It really is. Vanille's weapon's cool. At least that actually hurts things, you know. But anywho, so back to the council room. Yeah, like I said, everything's sort of coming out in the open, and Jacques really squirming in his seat is just so good. I just love seeing him squirm this entire episode, because he just, last episode especially, he was so on top of things and like, everything you are saying is exactly what I want you to say. And look at me, I'm so smart and I'm so on top of things. And now he's like, well, I didn't think, I didn't know, it's like...
What?
What?
How dare you say I committed treason? I didn't.
Yeah, bitch, you did.
Really? I didn't.
I only wanted to rig the election. Like, bitch, that is treason! Goodness me. But it's illegal at the very least. But yeah, him, like, unwittingly committing treason is so funny to me. Because he just is so short-sighted. He didn't think that would happen. And it's like, he looks so surprised when that Faunus came in and like whispered to him about the heating grid, and he was like, what? Like, it's like, what do you mean?
I was
Check
surprised too.
Check it again.
Like, I thought he knew.
Yeah, I thought he knew as well. I was sort of thinking that, like, he was in on it and he was just letting Watts do whatever he wanted. But the fact that he was so clueless, I was like, Jacques, man,
I was like, oh,
dude,
no.
are you
Dude.
serious? Like, he has no idea what the potential Watts has to do with that access that he's given him. And that's even worse than him being aware of it, really. Because him being aware of it, we would expect because he's a piece of trash. But, like, him not being aware of it is like, dude, use your brain. Who, me? Treason? No. Yeah, so, whoopsie, Jacques. Big oops. Yep, wop wop. But yeah, him just trying to like defend himself and be like, oh, this is all a giant leap, and like, I only intended to win the election. I didn't mean to kill 12 people or however many it was. Yeah, whatever it was. Yeah, it's a big yikes. Huge yikes.
Yeah. I also loved Robin when he said that, like, I only wanted to win the election, and she was like, only?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I really like that.
Yeah. I'm wondering now if Robin's going to take his seat on the council.
Oh, definitely.
Or if that's irrelevant at this point.
I mean, it's kind of irrelevant, but, like, she was there, and, like, now she's in the know with the rest of the council, and it just... She was the one who should have won anyway, so I'm sure they'll just be like, Robin, you can have it.
Yeah.
It was stolen from you, it's yours.
Yeah, basically. I'm also looking forward to possibly seeing Robin in action next chapter as well. She jumps down to Mantle at all. Because she wasn't with the group, but she'll probably still go down there. I mean, her happy huntresses are down there, so... oh, Fiona! Oh, I just realised.
Fiona.
Oh, Fiona. I love Fiona. And the rest of the happy huntresses as well, seeing them sort of actually, you know... I like seeing huntsmen and huntresses actually do their fucking job, because they don't seem to do a lot of it. Like, just killing Grimm, which is their job, is what they're not doing 90% of the time. So, I like seeing them actually just go in and just kill some Grimm. Like, and you can always see that they're really excited to just be able to just go kill Grimm, because it's like so simple, and they're like they know how to do their job, and like they spend so much time not doing their job that when they're like, oh, Grimm attack, yep, sign me up, let's go.
Oh boy, time to go killing again.
Oh boy, let's do it. But yeah, Ruby saying like it's time to go do our jobs, and then them all being like, yep, let's go. You know, very keen to do something that isn't involving Salem or Watts or Tyrion or Jacques or Ironwood at this point. Is Ironwood gonna go down there? I hope he does, because
Oof.
he's done...
I don't think so, because I mean he's with Oscar right now, and granted though he does have a separate transport coming for them, but like I mean he says he's sending Oscar back to the academy, so I'm like maybe he shouldn't leave Oscar.
And
especially because Oscar's holding a relic.
Yeah, Winter calling the transport as well. I hope Winter jumps down to help fight the Grimm, because we haven't seen her in action since Volume 3. Well, we've seen a little bit this volume, but it doesn't count. She hasn't really used her weapon at all to kill things, so he's trying to sort out the whole Watts issue. I know, but right now they could probably need everybody that they get down below. And that all of that stuff can wait until after the Grimm are dealt with. So
I mean, but he's the general. Like his job is like coordinating people. Like he's gonna be like in the office, being like, you know, Alpha Team, go here. You know, Manta Team, I need you to take out these guys. Like, you know, that's kind of his job.
Yeah. The only time we've ever seen him kill a Grimm was in Volume 3. So,
Volume 3, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was so cool, too.
It was cool. I like his
I'd love to see his second pistol, too. We don't even... Because what's his first one called?
I don't know. Gun? That's what I call it.
Oh, it has a name.
Yeah, it has a name, but I don't know what it is. You Google it. When the Grimm keep coming until you get people to calm down, I think... I mean, the Grimm will stop coming at some stage, but they will probably start coming again.
It's called due process.
Oh, due process.
Yeah, that is.
Oh my god, I hate that. That's terrible. The Grimm will stop at some stage. They won't be constant, but they will continuously keep coming through. So there will be probably waves of Grimm, I think. So this is just the beginning. I think Mantle's just screwed at this point. I think Robin's got the right idea. Evacuate the city, get them all to Atlas,
saving it,
and then just blow it up. That's the solution.
Well, you know what would also be kind of an interesting thing is if Jean, Ren, and May all got ended up with each other. Like, Jean could boost Ren's aura to get everybody calm, and then she could hide them with her invisibility dome thing. And I'm like, that'd be an interesting way to keep the Grimm off a group of people.
Would be interesting, yeah.
And, depending on if maybe it could cover all of Mantle, probably not. But also they'd need to get all the Grimm out of Mantle first, which wouldn't happen.
Not happening.
I do think Ren's semblance is going to be central in helping to evacuate people. I think you're right there. But yeah, it's going to be...
We're finally going to see whatever they mean by Jean extending his aura. Like, I think we'll finally get to see what that means.
But it's going to be really cool to see sort of everybody in action. I hope we get a little bit of that, like the Happy Huntresses and the Aesops and Team Ruby Junior Crow Orange, what the fuck ever they are now. Too many letters. And especially considering we haven't seen a whole lot of Jean in recent chapters. He has taken a back seat, which is upsetting. Because I love Jean, and I don't like it when he takes a back seat, because he's precious and he deserves everything. And he's also one of the team leaders, so the fact that he takes a back seat quite often is kind of weird. But
concerning,
Concerning, yeah. I get that maybe at times he doesn't have a lot to contribute to the story, and the focus is really on Nora and Ren at this stage, because they're having problems outside of everything that's going on, and inside of everything that's going on. So, it's going to be really good to see everybody in action, again, because we haven't had huge amounts of action this volume, but the action that we have had has been of a very high quality, so I'm looking forward to some good action in the next chapter. What didn't we talk about in the council room?
I mean, like, the entirety of, like, Ironwood filling everybody in. Oh, and then there was the Rose Garden moment.
Yeah,
as they were all leaving.
I want to talk about this because the Rose Garden ship has lost their goddamn minds. And
Rose Garden, fill me on. I'm not up to date.
It's Oscar and
Ruby. Yeah.
Where does the garden come from? Oh yeah, because
he was a farmer.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
kinda.
The ship has lost their minds. Whereas I sort of kind of saw it as just like them both being awkward and adorable because it's kind of their personalities. I don't see it as a shipping sort of way, and also like Ruby's an adult, Oscar isn't. That's kind of weird.
I mean, somebody made a very valid point that because it was very much this like. The fandom was very much White Rose versus Rose Garden this week, and people saying some not so nice things about each other.
Yeah, well, that's the shipping.
But the age difference between Weiss and Ruby is the same as Ruby and Oscar. So, the age comment is, even though I still think the age thing is kind of weird, I can see why it doesn't have as much validity. My issue with Rose Garden just comes down to Ozpin's in there. Like,
yeah, that's weird.
He's in there.
That's weird. But like, counterpoint, Ruby and Weiss are adults. Oscar is not. Simple. Ruby,
are they actually adults?
So it's a bit confusing because they tweeted at the end of Volume 6 that Ruby was 18.
When?
But on the wiki, it says she's 17. So it's a little confusing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think they tweeted that she was 17. I don't think it was that she was 18.
I definitely distinctly remember them saying she was an adult now.
But I genuinely forgot Ruby was younger than the rest of them.
Is a little weird. But with regards to the scene itself, it was really cute because they have similar sort of personalities where they're both really awkward. And they're both really cute, and like, so it was just sort of them being like, I don't know how to interact with another human, but like they were bouncing that off of each other, so it was just really awkward. Because neither of them knows sort of, neither of them has real, developed social etiquette, and they're also of a more similar age, where like Ruby's, still on the younger side, whereas everybody else is a little bit older. So her and Oscar are a bit more similar, I think, than she is to everyone else. But Ruby's kind of that interesting character where she is, a little naive, a little immature, but she also knows how to be very mature and how to make mature decisions and handle mature things. She's grown up a lot, but she's still, on the inside, is that little quirky girl that we saw in the first episode. So And that comes out every now and again, and that's what's happening in this scene, is that side of her is out in the open, because, she's bouncing off as Oscar, who's somebody who was very similar, and of a similar age that she was when the show started. So, the same age, actually. Don't say it like that, Bartek, that's disgusting. Cory, FBI. Don't get my Twitch banned, thank you very much. But yeah, so
yeah, I know.
This scene
it was it was a moment that was in there. Like, if they're working towards Rose Garden, sure. I
don't see it.
I mean, maybe I shouldn't say this. I personally have never really seen development as such for White Rose, but I also know people said that about Bumblebee before Volume 6. So I'm like, well, you know what?
But looking at Bumblebee retrospectively, it's obvious. But White Rose, I'm like, no. And then I feel the same way about Rose Garden as well at this stage. So
I don't know. It's kind of a thing where I'm just like, I don't really have Ruby ships. Ruby, the character, not the show. Outside of Nuts and Bolts, and even that, like, my shipping them it's so innocent, and it's really just like, I just love to see them like grow old together, like, teach each other about like feelings and stuff.
Yeah, and Jerry's camera has been frozen for about a minute.
Oh, hasn't?
Is he still there?
Uh-oh.
Jerry! Did we lose you?
Snake!
No! Snake! Alrighty, well, hopefully we'll get Jerry back at some stage.
Oh!
Wait. And now your face has been split in half.
Oh, no.
Ripperoo. Okay.
Ripperoo. Oh, wow, that was not how I thought my face was going to be split in half.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, wait, I need to move this way. Is it in half? Is it, like, good in half?
Well, now one side is just your glasses, and the other is the rest of your face.
Oh, wait, no, you're right. I gotta go... Oh.
Hello.
Welcome that's back my to internet for you. Sorry.
That's okay. Your camera was frozen for about a minute, and I was like, I think we lost Jerry. Also, your background is blurring now. Why does Skype do that?
Yeah,
when I
went to Skype does that. It's weird.
When I went to rejoin the call earlier after I was having issues, it automatically blurred my camera, and I was like, no.
Yeah, that's really rude. I don't know why it does that. I also don't know why it keeps popping you up to crop instead of full video feed when I keep clicking on it. That's very rude. Skype, stop that. But yeah, I'm more of a Sunset Red Sun shipper. I'm more of a, I try to stay out of ships unless they're canon. Like,
yeah.
I
think that should be...
I'm not getting involved because it's such a just...
Is Red Sun Ruby and in Sun?
Yes.
Because have they ever interacted in canon?
Never. That's why it's ridiculous. That's why it's silly. But Raven and fucking who were they shipping Raven with a little while ago? Somebody.
Was it Robin?
I don't know, somebody random that she has never interacted. Oh, Carly, Raven and Carly.
Oh.
And I'm like, these two have never remotely interacted. Why are they being shipped? It makes no sense. Also, gross. Why would you do that to Carly? That bitch is nasty. Raven, I mean, not Carly. She's wonderful. But yeah, no, I will never understand the shippers ever. And the things that the subtext they take from the show and just charge off with like it's a thing.
I mean, I sometimes think some of them are kind of adorable with people and their color explanations and stuff like that, or but I try not to get super involved in shipping out. Bumblebee was my one ship that I really had. And it's I've now vindicated 6 years later.
There was
but
so much evidence in the show though, leading up to Volume 6, that I got why people shipped Bumblebee. I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't see it, but I see why you see it. But also until volume 6, it wasn't as in your face as it is now. And like all through volume 7, they've been so disgusting. And I'm like, everybody around them can't stand to be around them. And I'm like, okay, well, yeah, this is
Oh.
at this point.
We've switched places on the
Yeah, I know.
here.
I can't. I don't think I can fix it. I was gonna try and fix it, but I don't think I can. No, I cannot.
I mean, you
Okay.
don't need to. It's just funny, really, at this point.
Oh, I know. Wait, can I?
Yeah,
stop
but
this
I mean,
one?
Bartek, that's why I've always heard that's why people ship Ruby and Sun is because Lindsay and Michael are married.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, even Lindsay herself has been like, come on, that makes no sense.
Yeah, she's
Stupid.
like, what? Hang on, now I've lost Cory's feed altogether. There we go. Wait, no, you're gonna go. Oh, okay, there you are. Yep, so you guys are just gonna be in each other's windows. That's cool. Thank you, Skype,
Okay.
very much.
I mean, I was Imperial Dawn for a while last week, so it's fine.
And Larissa was split in half, so it's all good. This is
Well,
still
even once
better
Dawn
than
was back,
that.
Dawn was me and... Oh, wait, no, or was Larissa me?
Well, first
Someone
of all,
was me.
we lost Dawn, then Larissa split in half, and then you were Dawn, Larissa was, no, it was, you were, I don't know.
I was
Larissa was-
Dawn after Dawn left the entire time.
You were Dawn and Dawn was Larissa. That's right. Yeah. So you were all swapped over. So this is just chaos. It's related to their voice actors. Yeah. No. No. Yeah. But anywho, I don't know why people ship characters that have literally not remotely ever interacted. I mean, Ruby said maybe 2 words to Sun in the entire show. That is not enough
Maybe.
reason to ship them.
I mean, to be fair, like, after the first week when I told you about people in the fandom had started shipping Crow and Clover together because people were suspecting that Clover had a good luck semblance, and, like, they hadn't even really interacted, and you
They
were like,
have,
I
though.
ship it.
I did because it was obvious to me, and like with the good luck the good luck semblance and stuff like that. I was like, okay, this is obviously gonna be a thing here. Like,
Yeah.
something's
that
going
was-
on here.
That is also the thing, like, I have said in the past, like, I was waiting for someone with a good luck semblance to show up to be Crow's love interest, and I just always assumed they would introduce some woman at some point. And instead, they've introduced some man.
How
and I'm like,
heteronormative
interesting.
of you! I'm ashamed.
Well, listen. I mean,
Listen,
touche.
Cory has had mad bi energy since he showed up in Volume 3, okay? And I wasn't out at the time, but, like, it's always been there in retrospect, and, like, I'm just so, like, happy about that, so, because I love Crow. But yeah. What the fuck were we talking about before we got off on that tangent?
the Rose Garden moment
Oh,
thing.
Garden.
Yeah, it was a really cute scene. I like that they are very similar in personality, so that's why that sort of scene where they're kind of bouncing that awkward cuteness off of each other was like, and I had a weird reaction to the scene at first. I was like, why are they so adorable? Like, but after watching it a couple more times, I'm like, yeah, it's cute. But Marrow is forever the parent who is pretending that they aren't enjoying what's going on. Like, they're that parent in every situation. I know you're just as childish as these kids, Marrow. We've seen you do things that indicate as
I think
such.
he's the youngest in Aesop.
He's the youngest Aesop.
Yeah, he's
yeah.
the newest recruit.
Oh, newest, yeah, that's the one.
But we've seen him literally, like, miming machine gun noises in the background. And, like, yeah, okay. And you want to tell me that, like, ugh, kids. Like, come on. You're a kid yourself. Shut
He's
up.
baby too.
Yeah, he is also baby.
Yeah. I'm sure if somebody, like, winked in his direction, he'd be all like,
Exactly, yeah.
Actually.
But yeah, Mary's just like, I'm like, you're trying so hard to pretend that you're not loving this. I really liked the scene where Oscar was telling Ironwood about Salem, because it was the opposite of how I was expecting Ironwood to react. But I think they picked the perfect moment to drop that bomb on him, because he is already so defeated that how much worse could they possibly make it? And also, he's not going to flip out, because I was really concerned he would flip out when he found out about that. So this was the right time to tell him. And like even Oscar says to him, you know, all the secrets you're keeping are about to be out in the open. It's time to just get it out there before it does it for you. So they've really picked the perfect time to talk about all of this and for Oscar to tell Ironwood about Salem and all of that. But I felt awful for James in that scene. I felt awful for him because all of his hope was hinging on this big plan, and it's just all fallen apart. And he just looks so defeated. And I was like, I feel really bad for you now, and I'm sorry for assuming that you were going to flip out and be a tyrant. I'm so sorry. But, like, you were kind of doing that, so... But, yeah, I do feel really bad for him now. And I'm like... And now we face the Grim threat, but then what happens after that? And it's kind of like...
Yeah, exactly.
What now? It's because I don't think he's going to continue, possibly, the Amity project now, although it is still very important. Because he's saying it's time to give up on that plan, and it's like, well, should you really? It's still a good idea. No wonder he needed a hug at the start of the volume. Yeah,
no kidding.
Poor bastard. I feel really bad for him now, and like I'm almost mad at myself for assuming that he was gonna go the opposite way. It could still happen though. I'm not holding my breath. But you know, he's just had a bad track record of acting not well. In situations that are stressful. So yeah, they timed that well. And Ruby being like, you know, I'll tell him because I'm the one who chose to keep it from him in the first place. But then Oscar being able to handle that, that's a big thing to have to drop on somebody. And like, Oscar must be feeling awful right at that moment for him.
I feel like it was better coming from him though. Because like, I mean, Ironwood does still kind of see him as Ozpin a bit. Yeah. So like it almost was kind of Ozpin telling him the info. Or like and like even now like it was Eddie confirmed that like Ironwood is completely in the know now. He knows everything that the girls do. They just didn't want to obviously show that on screen.
Yeah, because why reiterate it? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Why reiterate it? So like, you know, he kind of I feel like because he knows about like the circumstances around how they figured everything out or how they learned about all this stuff, and then, you know, obviously why Oz is now gone from Oscar's mind a bit. Like, you know, I feel like he understands why everything went the way it did and why they kept it from him. So like that aspect of it probably helped with him not freaking out and just brought him, you know, kind of into the same place Crow went, into just like sadness.
Like,
and feeling used.
What's
and
the point of anything? Yeah. And like, I love the way that Oscar handled the scene before that, where he was like, you asked for my advice, and he said, I wanted Oz's advice, and he goes, well, Oz's advice was shit. Here's my advice. Like, that's basically what he's saying. Oz's advice would be to do this, and that's not the right thing to do, and you already knew that. So don't do that. Do this instead. So I like that he's sort of taking charge there of being like, stop asking for Oz's advice when I've got perfectly good advice that Oz would not give you. Stop that. And I do like that everybody is sort of not treating him like a kid and treating him like an equal, especially Teams Ruby and Junior treating him as equal to them. Even though he's very young and this is a huge, big thing for somebody his age to take on, the fact that he is merging with Osmond seems to be maturing him very quickly. So, and like in the scene with Ironwood here, you know, he says something that Oz said, and Ironwood's like, you say that like you were there. And so, it's interesting to see that start happening, even when Oz is apparently not fully present at the forefront.
Kind of implying that like they've started to merge, and I'm like,
I was wondering.
Oh,
like, do you think we'll ever see Osmond again?
I don't know. I think we will at some stage.
Been a bit.
Because
I feel like the ways we'll see him in the future is kind of like how he appeared at the end of Volume 6. Is in those kind of ways. I don't think he'll ever don't think he'll ever like take control of Oscar ever again, though. I kind of feel like those days are probably gone, unless Oscar is in like super duper mortal peril and he's like, I have to, like, you know,
save him. But like, looking at chapter 3 of volume 6, 6. when looking at like the history of Oz's previous lives and that. Seeing the blonde guy that he was in, first of all, not that he was in, but first of all,
FBI.
Was.
even like years and years later, when he and Salem had a family and everything, Oz was still very much there in his head talking to him. So it's like, this is going to take time. And Oz will be back at some stage. Whether that's by the end of the volume or not is the big question.
Yeah, well, it's because they like merge and like learn to coexist. Isn't that one thing that they said?
Coexisting, yeah.
So it's almost going to be like, I feel like it is kind of going to be a situation where it'll be like they'll be almost indistinguishable from each other, sort of a thing. And like, because like that's what Ironwood was saying to Oscar in chapter 7. Is that, someday you won't even be able to tell the difference. Like, they'll become the same.
Yeah. So, what else haven't we talked about? Oh, the council people talking about, like, Salem and all of that. And, like, I was wondering about how much Ironwood was going to divulge, but the fact that he seems to have divulged everything that he did know
more or less everything
before talking to Oscar. And that Oscar pulled him aside quietly to tell him the rest. It was very interesting because now Robin, like, looking at the door, she knows that they're talking about something that they don't want the rest of them to hear. So she's probably thinking at that stage, ugh, they're keeping more secrets. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I don't know what Ironwood's going to do with this information. I don't think it's a good idea to tell everybody, hey, there's this big, bad, mean bitch witch out there somewhere who controls Grimm, and also she can't die. So we're all fucked. Like, that's a real bad idea to tell everybody.
Yeah.
That. So they're going to have to withhold the rest of that information for a little while. But yeah, there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way to destroy Salem. Oz just didn't word the question right. And they still have the one question left. So that's still in the back of my mind as well.
I'm just so worried about that last question because I'm like, ooh, it's the last question. And then, like, I mean, foreseeably they could ask more questions in like 20 years because, like, the Great War was 80 years ago, right?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean the one question hasn't been used.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing of like when did it refresh?
Yeah.
When does it refresh exactly? And now Ironwood knows there is a question left. Yes, he knows that as well. So I'm wondering if who first of all, somebody's got to ask Jin the right question, but who's going to
in the right
ask
way?
It in the right way? Yeah, exactly. It's got to be the right person and in the right way. Not just like, how do I destroy Salem? Like, you can't, duh. So like,
I feel like it's gonna be Ruby though.
I think so.
Because especially with how ominous that last scene in Volume 6 was, where like, I almost feel like it'll come down to like Ruby will again panic and say Jin's name with the lamp and then be like, shit, I have to ask a question. And she'll be like, say the right thing, hopefully.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Ruby. I think it has to be Ruby.
Yeah, I feel like it has to be. I mean, she's used Jin twice now, so like makes sense for her to use it a third time.
That sounds weird, but anyway, so yeah, it's very, very interesting sort of developments going on in this episode. Sorry, I just got the hiccups out of nowhere.
We didn't talk at all about the airship scene either.
Oh yeah, no worries. We'll do that. But I love that we saw Tyrion for literally 2 seconds in this episode, and all he did was
fell out of the sky.
Yeah.
And like, I'm like, okay, cool, sure. But also, like, he's still not wearing his coat, and it's freezing. Like, go get your coat, boy. I know you're a faunus, but Jesus. So, like, I feel like faunas typically run warmer blooded than humans. It seems that way.
Well, are scorpions warm-blooded or cold-blooded creatures?
Scorpions are cold-blooded, I believe. They're... Skype, stop doing that. Scorpions, are they warm-blooded? I don't know.
Oh, why did it zoom in on me when you did that?
I don't know. I noticed that. Yeah,
Whoop.
they're cold-blooded. Yeah, that's what I thought. They live in desert. I imagine it has to be cold. Yeah, exactly. If they're warm-blooded, they will probably boil in the sun.
True.
Yeah. So that's why South Australians are cold-blooded. So because it's fucking hot there. But what were we talking about? Yeah, Tyrion. Yeah, I feel like just like judging by sort of like the way they dress, especially people like Neon and Tyrion and like Blake as well has previously worn things that do not cover all like a lot of her skin. So
I mean, Sun's bare-chested as well.
bare chested, yeah, and like
Granted, he's from
they
Vacuo,
come
so
from a warm
hot as
place, and Menagerie seems to be pretty pleasant as far as the weather's concerned. So I think that they are possibly warmer blooded than humans, maybe. Seems that way anyway. But that's a weird tangent that I just went off on. I don't think Watts and Tyrion like have really thought this. Why are they still down in Mantle? Because apparently the cold of Solitas can kill you in a few hours. So I'm like, shouldn't you guys be skedaddling right now? Like it's getting cold. Like, you should probably leave.
I mean, but it's the best place for them to hide though while they hack, because it's utter chaos. Like they have a lot, and that thing I've always wondered is like, does being Salem's cohorts in any way like grant them immunity to like the Grim coming after them, or are they? I mean, because like there was that one Grim that did kind of attack Tyrion when he came back to Salem in Volume 4, and then Tyrion got all stab happy on it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I guess maybe not, but like
that scene
I don't know.
Still gives me chills down my spine. It was so creepy. But Tyrion's crazy. Stating the obvious. I love him though. My God. Tangents, yes. This airship, yes. The score in the airship when Ren and Nora were holding hands. It was the score of the song from Chapter 6, and I can't handle it. Because that song reminds me of Shine. So I'm like, ugh, I'm having Volume 2 flashbacks, and not in a good way. But yes, kind of in a good way, but also not, because bad things happened after that, and Pyrrha died. So, and Nora's a redhead. I'm very scared for her. The show does not like redheads.
No, it doesn't really.
It brought Penny back, so the balance of redheads is out, so now another redhead has to go. Nora's the only one around.
Neither can live while the other survives.
Mm-hmm. There can only be one. One redhead. The whole show. But, yeah, but it kills them in twos as well. This is true.
And I mean, it not really, because it was Penny in episode 9.
Penny, Roman, and Pyrrha, yeah, all in the one volume. Kill off all the redheads. Goodness me, they don't like gingers apparently.
Yeah,
Maybe racist towards gingers confirmed. Stop zooming in the camera. Oh my God. Okay. Never mind then. Yeah. So. I'm scared for Nora. It's the baseline of that. But I loved that, like, they showed the sort of parallel between Nora and Ren and Yang and Blake here.
I wanted to hold hands so bad. I was really like,
I know, but, like, we had that scene at the end of Volume 6 where they held hands in a very similar way in another airship. What's with the airship scenes? They're so steamy, man. Everybody's looking at each other like they want to fuck, and, like, especially Yang and Blake. They're making those eyes at each other, and I'm like, man, there's too much steam in this.
They just
airship.
love vehicles.
Open the doors. There's too much steam in here. They love vehicles, apparently. It gets them going. Literally and in a gross way. But I liked the scene of where the airship was going down, and like that it sort of threw us into that, because we saw the Withen Tyrix thing go ahead, whatever it's called.
Everybody's been calling him Terry.
Terry, of course they have. Of course they have. Fucking fandom. What was the nickname for the
Kevin.
Kevin? Yeah, Kevin.
Was it Kevin?
For the
Kevin was the big
For the
wyvern.
the
Dragon in
the
Volume
dragon,
3,
and
right?
then there was a nickname as well for the Godzilla
The
one.
sea thing. Oh, what was that one?
forget.
Larry. Lenny.
Larry for
Lenny.
the kaiju.
Yeah, Lenny. Yeah. So we just name all of the big grim for some reason. I say we. I have nothing to do with this. Yeah, Leviathan. Yeah, Lenny the Leviathan. That's what it was. That's what production was calling him. It's not even a fandom thing. It's not always production. Kevin was the fandom. Lenny was production. But this one is also fandom's fault. So.
Just because production, fandom just kept it going. They were like, yeah, Terry.
Yep, cool. Let's do it. But yeah, I like that they threw us straight into like, oh no, the Grim is attacking the ship and the ship is going down, and stop zooming in the fucking camera. Jesus, what is Skype doing today?
It's just like,
it just loves your face. It just wants to zoom it in. I don't understand personally, but you know. Yeah,
fine,
be offended, bitch. I don't care. What are you talking about? The shit. Yeah, I like they threw us into like the airship is going down, and like they're like, okay, time to abandon ship. Let's go. Fucking Clover opening the fucking door and standing there while the women's like, Brah! And then just gets blown up. I'm like, you goddamn motherfucking show off. Like.
Yeah.
And even like when he jumps out and he's like saluting Crow and he just falls backwards like he does. Crow's like, you goddamn show off. Like,
show off.
Show off. Like, it's so funny. He is such a show off. And I love that about him. I never want him to change. But he's also so cool in the way that he does it. And it kind of reminds me of Crow, whereas Crow kind of looks not cool in comparison to Clover. That's really weird. Because Crow's also kind of awkward, and I think that's where Ruby gets it from a little bit as well. He like, especially when it comes to Clover, I've never seen him so flustered. He's just like, he doesn't know how to react to anything that man says to him. And he's like,
Not really.
He's constantly in a state of and like, it's like you can see his brain working in real time. The cogs are turning and he's going, what's happening? Like, he's just constantly so confused. It's hilarious. Especially because like we're so used to Crow being like the cool uncle and being like so cool and edgy and like has his shit together, but he actually secretly really doesn't. So yeah, he's like kind of taken a back seat in the cool factor this volume, and I'm here for it. I'm here for awkward Uncle Crow. And I think being sober might have a bit to do with that. Just saying.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
I think everybody thinks they're cool shit when they're drunk. So,
definitely.
but he kind of just exuded that, but now he's sort of like a bit more like Ruby, which is kind of funny to see. But yeah, I love that, like, they all abandon ship, and then Elm being like, don't stay too long, Harriet, and then she just, like, blows out the windscreen, and her and Ruby, I love that shot of her and Ruby charging out of the airship. It's cool. They called them all Terry. Right, yeah. Creepy animation producer. So, yeah, that I like that whole scene there of them all, like, jumping down. But my big concern when I was watching that scene, I was like, that airship is going to crash somewhere on somebody's house. And somebody's going to die. Like, the airship is going to crash somewhere. Like, that's the whole time I was like, but the airship is going to crash. Like, where's it going to, it's going to hit somebody's house and blow them up. So somebody died already from the airship crashing.
Maybe it landed on a Goliath.
Maybe it landed in the ocean. I don't know. There is no ocean there.
Maybe it landed on the Goliath and it did absolutely nothing to it.
Yeah, exactly. They're just gonna find the Goliath with the
airship
manta on
out,
it later.
Yeah. The manta on it. But yeah. What else was there? There was something after that, wasn't there? Oh, Neo.
Yeah.
Neo.
Well,
leaving.
there were one thing I liked about the ship scene though was that when like they had to do all the funky maneuvers to try to get rid of Terry, everybody who was in seats was like they were tied down, so they weren't flying everywhere. But Elm and Weiss used their semblances to keep the others from flying all over the place.
Yeah.
So Elm planted herself on the ground and grabbed Crow and Clover, and then Weiss used a gravity glyph to keep herself and Ruby and I think Marrow or Vine in place. Was Vine there?
Yes.
I mean, he must have been there, but where was he?
Yeah, I'm sure he was. We just didn't see him very much.
I'm checking, and I think he. Well, I don't remember seeing him at all. Actually,
I think he was
I don't think he's
there.
there.
Where else would he be? Oh,
I think he was the one standing behind Weiss, actually.
yeah, he was there because I think I remember him jumping out of the ship.
I don't see him.
We're all going to check now.
Oh yeah, no, he's there. He's there.
He's there. Okay, yeah, cool. So yeah, he was there. I think everybody was there. So yeah, that's one of those really neat details that they used because like, you know, the airship is going down. They should be flying all over the place, but bullshit magic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was talking to Chris yesterday because he was watching Avengers and like talking about how useless Hawkeye is, and I'm like, at least like, and like Hawkeye's stupid rotating arrow thingy, I'm like, how does he know which arrow he needs to pull out? And I'm like, at least you can explain the others away with bullshit magic, but him, he's just no. Like, you can't explain that. But like, that's kind of how I feel about a lot of the stuff that happens in Ruby. I'm like, bullshit magic, okay, cool. But that's like the explanation for a lot of the things that happen that break physics or don't make any sense or like aren't possible.
Yeah,
Ruby is grounded on bullshit magic.
It is. Yep. I'm not complaining, but you know, that's not how physics works. But yeah. What was I gonna? Oh yeah, the scene at the end with Neo.
Yeah.
I love the way they animated Neo changing her appearance. That looked really
pretty.
That
was beautiful.
It was gorgeous. Like it was so like particly and like it was just lovely. It was like a cloud of dust like illusion going on. I loved it. It looked so good. So we're probably not going to see it again. Because it looked like a pain in the ass to animate. I'm like, that looked really complicated. I don't think we're going to see it again. Or at least not that good anyway. But it was a close-up shot. It was the first time we've seen her in the volume. So, like, a lot more detail, obviously, in that. But it was so pretty. I love that they're taking the time to work on details like that and just make it look so good. I love the way that Neo responds to things that Cinder says. So for her response to be like, for Cinder to be like, you're home early, and then be like, so did you get what we're looking for? And her just like popping the hat, as if to say, bitch, please. Like, who do you think you're talking to? Of course I got it. I don't know what it is that she got, but
I mean,
I feel like she might have gotten the location of the Winter Maiden.
Possibly.
Well, I don't think it was even that much. I think she just like learned about Watts and like what's happening and that what like the access that information that Watts has access to. Hopefully, because like I'm honestly convinced I'm like Cinder's gonna be the one to find Watts and kill him. Like she's gonna be like, you're compromised and I need your stuff, so like stab, and then she's gonna be like, thanks for the information.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past Cinder. She's also somebody who's very short-sighted. So,
yeah.
And
if nothing else, though, I think it could have just been she learned about the Amity Coliseum communication tower.
Yeah.
Because that was like one of the things. Because she was standing right outside that room, so she could have overheard that.
Easily, yeah.
But yeah, so.
Also,
I know, but I am worried for the Winter Maiden.
If she was disguised as a waiter, she could have wandered the house unquestioned, really. So. And just like looked casual about it, and like she was supposed to be going where she was going, and she could go basically anywhere. So she could have ended up in Jacques' office, for whatever reason. She could have definitely overheard everything that was going on in that room. So there's all of that information there. It just sort of depends on what exactly she was looking for and what exactly she overheard. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see. And also, like, how is she going to tell Cinder? She's gonna have to write it all down. It's like, just give me a note and pen. I got this.
Well, we saw in volume 3 that she texts Roman, so like she could just be like, okay.
That's
So she's like, yes, I got it now.
the only time we've ever seen Neo like verbalize something in text or communicate through text is like, guess who? And I'm like, that's the only thing we've ever seen Neo ever say, and I love that. Like, she sends him a picture of Ruby, guess who? Like, that's her whole character in a nutshell. I love her. Just a sarcastic bitch. I love that she can be so sarcastic without saying a word. Like, bitch, please, come on. And like just the way that they handle a character who can't speak, because it could very easily be so boring. But she is so interesting, just like watching her body language and her expressions and like how she communicates with not being able to verbalize what she's thinking, is really interesting. And it's all about the body language for Neo and the expression. So them getting to play with that a lot more without having to rely on voice acting is really interesting. You just don't see a lot of shows like this with a mute character. It's just not a thing. Blind characters a lot of the time, but not mute ones. There's nobody blind in RWBY except for Maria, but she can see, sort of.
And Fox.
Yeah.
Oh, Fox. Fox is blind. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's true. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything in the episode. There was a lot in there. Holy shit. That's
it was a good episode.
It was a really good episode. I'm looking forward to chapter 10 tomorrow. I'm gonna have to watch it before my stream.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to squeeze that
Chapter 10 should be a really good one. Should be a banger.
Yeah, it should be good. It should be good.
And I have a feeling, I mean, even though I feel like from this episode, I kind of have like, well, I'm like, okay, well, clearly this is like the climax. Like, this is kind of what we're leading towards. But I feel like episode 10 will definitely like let us know, like, are we going to be dealing with like the Winter Maiden? Or is it going to be Amity Coliseum? Or is it going to be Salem? Like, I feel like it's going to give us a good idea of like what the last 3 chapters will be.
I definitely feel like chapter 10 with the Grim Attack is going to be one and done. Like, that's going to be not resolved in chapter 10, but like the crux of chapter 10 is going to be just sort of tackling that threat and deciding how to counter it and whether they're going to evacuate Mantle and where they're going to put the people and what they're going to do with the fleet. But I think the crux of that is going to be the focus of chapter 10. I don't think we're going to get any, if at all, like very little, if any, sort of focus on anything else at all. Maybe possibly Neo and Cinder, but like if chapter 6 is volume 6 is anything to go by, we won't see them now till chapter 12. Or 13. Knowing the track record.
11 or 12. I don't. The next episode, probably not.
Probably.
With it being so short too.
Yeah, that too.
It's not a lot of runtime, so I feel like the focus is really going to be on what's happening down in Mantle. There's no room to play with anything else, really. That could easily take up the entire 15 minutes. So, and then we've got the last 3 chapters, which sort of has to handle the last arc of this volume, and lead up to however it's going to end. I still don't know at this stage. We're like, it's chapter 10 tomorrow, and I've got no idea. We keep saying, I'll have a better idea by the end of, this chapter, and then we get there, and I'm like, I don't know.
Nope.
Well, I mean, like, at this point in volume 6, we kind of didn't really know either. Like, we were pretty sure because it was like, because chapter 9 ended with them, it was chapter 9 that ended with them being like, we're gonna steal an airship, right?
Yes, because chapter 10 was the start of all of that.
So we were kind of like, we were like, well, they're going to steal an airship, but something's going to go wrong.
Obviously.
And,
Yeah.
So, yeah. So it's kind of like, I feel like definitely by the end of the next episode, we'll be like, because by the end of chapter 10 last year, we were like, and this is the rest of the volume. Like, So I think 10 will give us a good idea what we're in for.
Yeah, it's always 10. Like, in Volume 3, Chapter 10 was the start of the Fall of Beacon, and it's like, I don't even remember what happened in Volume 4, to be honest, from Chapter 10 onwards. I don't remember what that was.
Was 10? 10 might have been Kuro Yuri.
It was Kuro Yuri, you're quite right. So that was a flashback chapter. How weird. That late in the volume, yeah. That, Volume 4 had an interesting pace.
Pacing.
Yeah. Interesting is probably a kind way of putting it. Bad, perhaps? Slow? Yeah. Definitely slow, at the very least. I like Volume 4, though. Volume 4 gets a bad rap. But just because it's slow doesn't mean it's a bad volume. It was a great volume. It was just very slow. And had one stinker of a chapter in it. But so did Volume 5, so...
I mean, my issues with Volume 4 just entirely come down to how little screen time Yang got.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
she was the character I was most excited to see, and she was the one we saw the least of. And so that's why I'm like...
sidelined.
Yeah,
I was like,
very sidelined, definitely.
Benched her completely.
Yeah, they did bench her, and they could have done so much more with her, and they didn't seize the opportunity, and they focused a lot more on Weiss and Team Ranger and Blake as well. Blake, by the end of Volume 5, I was fucking sick of Blake. I was like, get rid of her. She has had too much screen time, especially in Volume 5. She had 3 consecutive chapters where it was, like, mostly about her, and I was like, I'm done with this story. Can we move on, please? It was so
but then
frustrating.
I was gonna say, but then she didn't show up, and I was like, for did Volume 5 have 14 chapters?
Yes.
Okay, so she was gone for 2 chapters.
It was the only volume that had 14 chapters.
Yeah, because she disappeared in chapters 11 and 12, and then came back in 13.
Yes, she did. So chapters 8, 9, and 10 were Menagerie and Blake's family and shit. That was way too dragged out. By the end of that, I was like, I'm tired of Blake. Blake needs to take a seat for like a volume, please. Which she kind of did after that. So, except at the end of Volume 6 was like very Blake focused, but that was a massive moment for her story. So, by then I was like, then Blake can come back now.
Even then it was kind of like, well, I felt like they split the time between, Blake and Adam, and then what was happening with Cordovan pretty well.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
it didn't feel so Blake focused, and it didn't feel as drawn out. It's a funny thing because it's the same number of chapters they drew out the Adam and Yang versus Blake that they drew out all of the Menagerie stuff, but it didn't feel drawn out. It was just like it was a lot of stuff that took a long time to happen. But in Menagerie, it was like, and we're getting to the climax. Oh, and it's ended. Oh, okay, next and it's ended again. Oh, great. This is going for 3 chapters now. Okay, cool. We're done. Can we move on? And like it also, it wasn't as interesting as what was going on at the end of Volume 6 either. So.
Well, I think that partially the 8, 9, and 10 of Volume 5 that was the reason was because it started with a long bit, then had a short bit, and then had a long bit. Whereas the stuff in Volume 6 was short, right at the end of a chapter bit of, introducing the conflict, and then, 11 and 12 were the conflict. Mm-hmm. So it was, it was better paced in that way.
Chapter 9 of Volume 5 is the worst chapter of Ruby ever made. And that's saying something because Volume 1 exists. So, there were some bad ones in Volume 1, but that's mostly because they were so short. But Chapter 9 of Volume 5, it's a stinker. My gosh. Chapter 8 of Volume 4 wasn't that bad. It was just boring. It was just really boring to watch on the second view. The first view, it was like, okay, cool, this is interesting. But after that, it's so boring. But Chapter 9 of Volume 5 is... It makes boredom bored. Is how bad it is. It's really not good. So, like, that's not a rewatchable chapter for me. But yeah, they sort of... Volume 6 didn't really have a bad chapter. They had... Chapter 4, I think, is the only one that was questionable, but that's because it followed Chapter 3. So, and Chapter 3 was incredible and 30 minutes long. So it was like, Chapter 4 was screwed from the get-go. So, what else could they possibly have done with Chapter 4? So I'm... Like, they kind of did the right thing in keeping it short and sort of focused on the aftermath of Chapter 3. But yeah, Volume 6 had no stinkers. Volume 7, Chapter 8 was questionable.
Yeah. Just think that it's like I that's the thing. I want to, like, once the entire season's out, just like sit down and binge it and see how Chapter 8 feels in that. If it's truly like a stinker. because
I don't
that's the
think it's a
problem with
stinker.
I don't think it will be, because the problems with the other two you've mentioned were like on subsequent rewatches of those volumes. I
Yeah.
get to that chapter and I just go,
Oh god. Skip.
whereas
Yeah.
I feel like I won't feel that way about chapter 8.
Yeah. Chapter 8 of Volume 4, Chapter 9 of Volume 5 are skip chapters for me. Fast forward. Don't care. Moving on. Don't remember what happened exactly. All I know is it was boring. But yeah, I don't think Volume 7, Chapter 8 is going to be that. Why is it always Chapters 8 and 9? Why are they always the bad ones? But I don't...
Because setting up the end.
Yeah, I don't think Chapter 8 is going to be that for this volume. I think it's good and it has some really strong scenes, but like it's just so short and doesn't stand well on its own is the trouble. It needed to be paired with Chapter 9. So, but I think in that way it's going to flow a bit better when you look at the entire picture of the whole volume, rather than just as it is and before the break week as well. Which was
I think it was honestly
idea.
the break week that really screwed it over, because it was
this
was where we ended it.
We were expecting something to happen before we had to wait
Before
2
the
weeks
break.
to find out what happens next,
Yeah.
and that didn't happen. So, yeah, you know, what you gonna do? It would have been better if the break had either been after Chapter 7 or after Chapter 9. That would have been more appropriate.
If the break had happened right here, I would fully understand. I would be like, yep, I want to see this next thing, and they're not letting me. Like, it would make sense.
Absolutely.
Whereas with the other one, I was just kind of like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Manto's freezing.
Manto's freezing. And people are gonna die. Oh well, can we see it already?
Yeah.
But yeah. Anywho, I think we've pretty much jabbered on about everything in the episode and outside of it. Jerry needs to go to bed. It's late, so...
Yeah. Well, actually, I need to go to work.
Oh, you do have to go to work?
But no, actually, not anymore. Actually, my boss text messaged me earlier, and he's like, "We don't need you to come in anymore."
Yay!
So I was like, okay, well,
Yay.
that's why I was able to stay for the whole podcast.
I want to see the scene where Neo writes down everything to actually communicate it to Cinder. Oh gosh, please no.
I'd love to see their text message thread, which is just like Neo saying words, and then like Cinder occasionally sends like the fire emoji.
Just Cinder opens her scroll and it's just like scrolling through all of the messages Neo sent her, and it's like, hold on, let me get to the top.
I just want Neo to be a massive shit poster.
Yeah. I want Neo to like send Cinder like sarcastic memes, like like Ruby memes. Oh my god, that would make me happy. I want fan art of that. I want fan art of Ninda. Wow, that's their ship name. Neo sending Cinder Ruby memes. Ninda.
What would their ship name be?
Oh no.
Feist cream.
It's gotta be like fire. Yeah, you gotta find like fire and ice cream, or like
fire
ashes and ice cream.
Isn't it fire and ice? Or ice and fire, or whatever.
Ice steam? I don't know. I'm not good with names.
I don't know what their fucking ship name is.
Fire
I don't
and
actually
ice.
really care. So yeah, predictions for chapter 10. Grim fighting.
Yeah.
Basically.
Something we don't expect will happen, because that always happens.
Yeah, I want Clover and Crow fighting together. I want to see Robin in action. I want to see the Happy Huntresses do something useful. That isn't,
I want to see
Fiona
just like open her portal hand and just bombs fly out of it.
I want to see her open her portal hand and just fire trucks at the Goliaths. It's like, boom, take that. Yeah, I want to see the Happy Huntresses doing something that isn't fucking everything up. And I just need pairings that we haven't seen before. I need interesting pairings in fights. And if Blake and Yang are fighting together in this episode, I swear to fucking God. Like, they need to branch out a little bit. Spice cream? Ew. I hate that. That's awful.
I love that,
actually.
actually.
It's awful. Why Spice? Is Cinder the Spice? She's not spicy, she's just a cunt.
We need to find a third person so they can be sugar, spice, and everything nice.
Well, then that would be Ruby.
Ew, I hate it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Instant regret. Oh my god. Okay, let's get off of this topic. Jerry, what do you think is going to happen in chapter 10? Yep.
I don't know. I really like. I don't know.
I don't know.
I think we're gonna see something with Watts. Like
Possibly.
maybe they'll find Watts. Maybe that'll be might be a little early for that though. I don't know. People think that like that I guess that people are thinking Cinder is going to kidnap Oscar, and I'm like, no, please. But granted, though, like it was a little ominous, like with Atlas Academy in the background of their window, and we know that's where Oscar's going. So like, yeah. But like, I don't know. Why would they go after him? Except if they were looking for the relic, I guess. But
I don't know.
Still,
we will see. I'm very excited to watch it tomorrow. Also, make sure you go and check out Jerry and his amazing music on his YouTube channel. And tomorrow I am streaming for 12 hours to raise money for the bushfire crisis here in Australia. There's still over 100 fires burning in the country at the moment. So we are definitely still very much in need of aid, even though we have had some rain finally, thank goodness.
Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah, so it's desperately needed rain. But we need all of the support and help that we can get. So definitely try and come along to that tomorrow at any stage if you can. So it's from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. tomorrow my time. So yeah, that'll be good, and there'll be like games and you'll be able to, even if you can't donate, you'll be able to play mini games that you'll be able to win the chance to donate. So I'm going to be donating a lot of my own money towards this as well. So definitely try and come along to that if you can. If you're watching this on YouTube, it will probably be live right now. Yes, it will be live right now, so definitely.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because it's literally you start streaming 24 hours from now,
yes.
So this will go up right about the start of the stream.
Yeah, so if you're watching this on YouTube, definitely come along and yeah, try and support us if you can. Anywho, thank you so much, Jerry, for being on the Boopcast for another year.
Thank you for having me once again.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here. And we're going to be back next week to talk about chapter 10. What time are we doing next week? It's
gonna be
early
noon.
next week.
Yeah.
So it'll be 6 a.m. my time. Love that for me.
Yeah.
And I also have another charity stream on that day as well. I'm going
Wait, really?
to be destroyed. Yeah, generosity.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
on the 18th. So, yeah, we're going to be early next week. But aside from that, who are we having on next week? I'm not actually sure.
I think is it Wade and Magic?
Correct.
Wade and Reach.
Wade and Reach are going to be on next week. So that'll be good. We'll chat about, it was 6 a.m. Exactly. Gross. And then well, the reason it's at 6 a.m. is because I have work at 9. So
yeah,
I podcast, then work, then charity stream. So that's going to be a fun day. But, yeah. So come along tomorrow if you can. It's going to be fun. It's going to be good. I have no idea what I'm playing yet. We're going to work that out today. Sorry.
Well, we're gonna do Overcooked 2 at some point.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do Overcooked 2. That's gonna be a shit show.
Yeah, you and me.
That is gonna be a shit show.
That should be fun.
Larissa will be joining me later in the day because she's got a family thing on tomorrow till about 6 o'clock, so she'll be joining me in the evening for the stream tomorrow. But I'm sure other people will be along. We're gonna play some Jackbox games as well, which will be really fun. So we're gonna do Overcooked. I think we'll probably do that first. Maybe I might do Jackbox first and then Overcooked. We'll see how we go. Because Jackbox could go for ages. So, yeah, we'll do that tomorrow. But thank you, everybody, for watching the Boopcast. We will see you next week. And happy chapter 10. I don't know. Goodbye.
Happy chapter 10.
Bye.
See you.